What's up, guys? Stefan here, S&E's Garage. We're here in Mike's garage, ironically. If you didn't see the video on this yesterday, Mike had an issue. It overheated, and we came over, we did some diagnostics, and we found out that it has a blown head gasket. More specifically, compression is leaking from the number 4 cylinder into the cooling system. So we're going to go ahead and pull the motor out of this thing, and I figured, you know what, let's get it on camera. So Mike printed down a whole procedure on how to get this out. The engine is going to come out the top. So we're going to start by removing all of the accessories, or the parts that aren't a part of the short block. So yeah, we're going to start pulling, the air box out, the snorkel. We're going to drain all the fluids, and we're going to start disconnecting all of the, the wiring and things like that. So I think step one is we're going to go ahead, we're going to open the radiator cap, we're going to drain the oil, and we're going to drain the petcock for the radiator, which should be, is it underneath, Mike, or is it on the side over here?
It should be underneath. If it's not underneath, we'll just pull it.
So this petcock should be right, that's somewhere under here. When I find it, I'll update you. So you're going to need a little Phillips head screwdriver, not little, actually a big one, and that's your petcock right there. You just want to make sure you open your radiator cap first so it drains faster. And we're also going to address this power steering fluid leak that we have right here. So let's open this radiator cap. Always open it slow, just in case it's under pressure. We don't want to get burned. So where's your drain pan? Drain pan. Find the drain pan. Here's one.
Should be right over there. Yep.
Are you going to save this coolant to put back in it?
No. Nope, I'll just buy it new.
Ooh. And I just need a Phillips head.
Phillips head, how big?
As big as you got. Yeah, fat one. A chode. Chody Phillips head.
You're nice. I was just going to pull the lower hose, man, into a bucket.
Yeah, we'll get fucking covered if we do that.
Well, wait, hold on, because that might be a lot in there, stuff, and that thing might not be big enough.
I got 2 of them.
Hold on, I got a bucket. Put it in this.
Oh, yeah. The bucket bucket.
Yeah.
I gotta watch my language on YouTube.
On the tube. For the use.
Jesus. Here's the cap. Alright, so we got the radiator draining. We're probably going to go ahead, crack the drain plug off the oil pan and start draining that as well. Alright, so Mike's under there now, and he's going to undo the drain plug for the engine. It is a 17 millimeter, and we're going to go ahead and drain that engine oil at the same time as we're draining the coolant. So there he is, unscrewing it. Boom, there we go. Wow, that oil's actually pretty clean.
I just did it.
Yeah. Alright, so now that we got it draining, we're going to go ahead and start removing the rest of the air intake. We did take the air box out to get to the 2 spark plugs the other day when we checked for leak down. So usually you would have your air box here. That comes out real easy. It looks like 1 or 2 10 millimeter bolts. But all we're going to do here is unbolt this 10 millimeter here. And then we got one here. And then there may be one on the other side. Yep, right here. And then we're going to loosen those clamps and pull this whole air intake out and get it out of the way.
Power tool stuff in.
Come on, man.
Come on, you're a mechanic. You should know power tools all day.
Oh man, we missed the most important step. Always disconnect your battery before you touch any electrical components. Luckily, we haven't touched anything electrical yet.
Actually, I probably want to touch the start.
Negative first.
This isn't a new car, so it's not a positive ground.
Where's that, you have a big, where's that big Phillips head?
Oh, it's sitting right in front of you on the wall. Actually, we have to take this fully off. So
The battery?
yeah.
Just get it completely out. Yep. We're going to remove the battery. Mike's going to do that while I'm taking off the air box.
I think one of these are stripped. You have a hard time getting
No,
these out.
it came right out. Well, they both came right out. I have the bolts up on the cowl up there. I don't know if you want to put them somewhere else.
I want to try to keep all the bolts connected to wherever they're supposed to go.
Alright, so now there's looks like there's breather tubes, one on either side of the air box, so we're going to go ahead and remove them. Okay. This air box should be ready to come right out. There we go. Those bolts, do you want me to put the bolts
Right back. Yep.
And Mike went ahead and got the battery out. You guys saw me on camera about a minute ago get the air cleaner out. I'm going to pull this little auxiliary snorkel out. And then we're going to start tackling some coolant lines. And we're going to leave the air conditioning compressor in the car. We're just going to move it out of the way so that we don't have to evacuate the AC system. We should be able to, once we remove the belt, slip it over to the side and put it right in the battery box area. So that, like I said, we don't have to worry about evacuating the system, because that's a huge plus. Alright, so while I start disconnecting these coolant hoses, the upper and lower, Mike's going to go ahead and start taking this whole belt bracket shield assembly off. That way we can see the top of the compressor, the alternator, and the power steering pump, and then we can start loosening the brackets and removing those belts. It's nice having two guys, huh?
A lot of shit done real quick. I like it. Like I said, I know you're taking off stuff too.
Yeah.
So just try to put things back. I won't know.
Yeah. No, I'm pretty good with that stuff. Because I do the same thing. I leave
I'm
myself.
not, so.
I leave myself hints as I go.
Yeah.
Do you want to write like upper on this, or will
Nah, I
you?
can figure it out.
Okay.
I'm not that. I am dumb, but not that dumb.
Usually I would just disconnect one side, but I figure it'll be easier if we just get it out of the way. We'll be able to see what we're doing. You have to unbolt. Yes. Yep. Alright, let me just show them that real quick because that is a little bit tricky. So to remove this belt bracket here, you have a 10 millimeter here. You have a 10 here. That holds the one on with the AC compressor. So there's a 10 and a 10 here. Now the rest of this bracket here is actually bolted on through the alternator. So we have to go ahead and remove this alternator bolt to then go ahead and take this whole shield out. Alright guys, so we're just getting ready to pull the lower hose off. Even though we drained the radiator, I'm sure we're going to get some coolant out of this. So we just move the bucket over and we're going to pull this lower hose off. That can burn. Yes, sir.
Oh, not that much left. Unless we're missing it.
No. Alright, so what we're going to do now is we're going to unplug these cooling fans. That way they're disconnected. And we're going to loosen and remove these two 12 millimeter bolts that hold the radiator brackets on. And we're going to pull the whole radiator out, give us some more room to get to the front of this engine. Alright, we went ahead and unplugged the radiator fans. There's one plug for each fan. When I get the radiator out, I'll show you exactly where they're at. We're just going ahead and removing these brackets. I put it right over there on the Where do you want this radiator?
We're gonna put it over here too.
Okay.
Hey, it's not going.
All right. So you'll see, Mike, point out the clips, the connectors here for that.
One here and one over here.
Yep.
So I'm straight down.
That easy.
You want to dump the rest of that in there?
Radiator? Yeah, it's a little crusty on the front.
It's actually not too bad. Look at that.
You want it on the ground so it's not...
Yep, right on the ground. Don't lock the fridge.
the most important part.
That's an important part.
Alright guys, so now that we got the radiator out of the way, you're going to see that we have a whole lot more real estate here to work, and that's going to be good because we need, this is a manual transmission car, so we need to slide the input shaft of the transmission out of the pilot bearing and the clutch on the engine, so this will give us enough room to do that. So what we're going to start doing now is detensioning these belts so we can get them out of the way. And like I said, we do need to remove this AC compressor and set it off to the side. So it looks like what we need to do here is loosen this jam nut. That's like a 12 or a 13 millimeter, and then your adjuster is here, and by loosening that, you'll take the tension off of the belt. There's a lot of room to work on here.
Yeah, a lot of people love these cars just because you can.
You want to spray that, or did you already? There it goes.
Alright, if I break it, I got another motor.
Yeah, right.
It should be simple.
So this whole time, Mike goes, dude, don't worry. I got a motor. We're going to drop it right in.
No, it's no motor.
So here's the motor over here. Turns out this is a double overhead cam engine and will not work because this is a single overhead cam. So luckily for us, Mike's father owns a machine shop. If you need anything done, go see him. Tim's Automotive, Route 37 in Tom's River. So what we're gonna have, what we're gonna end up doing with this, we're gonna pull the heads. Mike's dad's gonna go over them, and we're gonna inspect the short block. And if we see anything we don't like, we're gonna send that to him. He's gonna split the case. We'll do new pistons, bearings, and we'll basically have a brand new engine to drop back in this thing. So what are you doing now, Mike? You're loosening
all the brackets, just getting everything loose.
Alright, so he's taking the tension now off of the alternator belt so that we can remove that as well. So here's your alternator belt. Do you want to write alt on this or something so you remember?
2 different sizes.
Oh yeah, and this one's got
only
less grips
2.
on it.
No serpentine belt system on these.
Oh no, that's, yeah, so this is throttle. This is your throttle linkage, and that's cruise control. So we need to get rid of all that. We need to remove this positive. Yep. No, I don't think so. I think just loosening this pulls this whole. You loosen this, right? Yep. So that should pull this whole thing right up.
Oh, maybe I gotta pull it. Maybe that's why. Oh yeah, you do. Okay.
I should remember because I put the compressor in this.
Yeah. What side of that? 12?
Yeah, just grab your electric drill and zip it right off.
Exactly.
Subaru. As soon as Mike told me this thing overheated and I knew it was a Subaru, I go, dude, it's gonna need a head gasket. No, don't tell me that.
I don't want to hear it.
Here we are.
Where's my 12? Is the 12 over there?
The wrench?
No.
I have the ratcheting wrench, 12.
That's hot.
So we went ahead now, we got the AC belt off. You can see there's no more belts connected under the hood of the car. So now we have to remove the alternator, get it out of the way, all the wiring associated with it. And before we pull this out, we're going to set the motor to top dead center. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. That way we know it's timed and at top dead center when we remove it. That's just going to make it a lot more simple. When we go to pull the cylinder heads off, we'll know there's no chance of doing any damage there. So we're going to start now by, I guess we're going to start pulling the alternator, right?
Alternator, we'll start pulling that out.
The compressor, yeah. So we're going to get all the accessories off the front of this thing that we can.
Looks like this power steering line we can take off too. I'm losing parts already. I'm losing it.
Alright, I need a 14 mil with a ratchet to start pulling these compressor bolts off.
Deep or small?
Either one. Whatever you got.
I have air. If you want air.
That look a lot like a snap-on.
Harbor Freight, baby. That's what's wrong.
These accelerator cables are going to be getting in our way.
Yeah, you have to.
Alright, so before I take this compressor out, we're going to go ahead and remove the accelerator cables because they are kind of in the way. They're super easy to remove. All you have to do is snap the throttle closed like this, and you take the cables off of their brackets like this, and then it'll come right out like so. So there's one. Now we're going to do the second one behind it. I'm going to get that, see if I can get it on camera. If not, I'm going to try to get this. Yeah, it looks like I got it, I think. Nope, I didn't. Alright, let me get that. Let me put you back on the stand. Really a two-hander. Yes. Alright, so both of these are disconnected. Now there's a bracket here which...
We'll remove this.
Yeah, what are they? Oh, I can get them right now with this. Look.
Oh, where's the ratchet? The ratchet.
Just gonna crack the loops. So what we're doing now is removing the bracket that holds these throttle cables on so we can flap them over to the side. One's a throttle cable and one's for cruise control. You'll see there's two 10mm screws right there on the intake manifold that you remove, and then you can pull the whole things out of the way. Yeah. Why? You watch it on YouTube. Now the harness. Can you pull this engine with the harness on it?
No, there's clips right over here, and you just unclick all.
Okay.
There's a bunch of them. You just unclick the whole thing. Yep.
With the Hyundais, you flip the whole harness off the PCM, lay it on top of the engine, and pull it that way.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what I would do.
He said I do not. I do have another motor to look at, but still.
It's different enough for it to be different.
Yep, I'm used to Chevy.
I'm going to also unplug the AC compressor clutch power wire to get that out of the way. And now, Mike, remember when you do this, these throttle cables go under your hot side hose. You got these brake booster and vacuum lines here, and this might be a fuel line.
Yeah, there's fuel line there.
Yeah,
there's fittings.
So we have to get the fuel lines off right here.
You have to drain that. So the right way to do it, we can explain this.
What we should have done is
remove the relay and then
and
it runs out. But fuck it, I'll just that's what I generally do.
So what we should have done here for these fuel lines is started the engine, pulled the fuel pump relay, and let the engine peter out. But we weren't thinking ahead here. So we have to remove these fuel lines here. One's a feed, one's a return back to the tank. And we're just going to loosen them. And, you know, I mean, this is a low pressure fuel system. It's not like it's direct injected, so there's not going to be a whole lot of pressure behind it. But you might get some fuel leakage if you don't do what I just said we should have done. Yeah, so we're going to loosen this, put a rag over it, pull them off. So this is the fuel filter right here. That's pretty easy to service.
Super simple. So you can actually start
just leave them on.
Yeah, I need this stuff.
Yeah.
I had a pair of pliers, and I can't find where I put them. Did you see them? They're black.
No. Alright, where's the... I need a small Phillips head to start moving this fuel line.
I actually had to replace those already. Oh, that's good.
Oh, dude, this fuel line was loose.
No, I didn't know. I did these. There's a set down there and then a set somewhere on the rail. I need...
Whew. Yeah, that's definitely fuel. Are you going to remember here which one's pressure and which one's return?
They're probably going to line up.
As long as you...
And it's on video.
Yep.
Save that part.
So, pressure...
is up top.
Michael, future Michael, pressure is up top, return is on the bottom. So from the fuel filter goes to the top nipple.
Alright, so this side is...
There's a ground strap right there, Mike. You're gonna have to remove. I would take it off right from that, right there.
I'm looking at this connector. I gotta take this off.
If I were you, dude,
These go straight down.
is that pressure line here a flex line, or is that a solid
This
line?
is hard.
Oh, all right. So
I think if I take these
the only
off
thing
right here,
you could take them off and pull this whole power steering pump off without opening those up. If you disconnect this 10 here,
Yep,
that 10 here.
and I should be able to push this over here.
So what we're going to do with the power steering here is you'll see the pressure line is a hard line. Comes from here down over, and then it gets flexible down here where it goes down to the rack. So we're going to remove this 10 millimeter, this 10 millimeter. That's going to let us remove this ground strap, and it's also going to let us take this power steering pump and flop it over, lay it right on top of the ABS module or in this area. That way we don't have to drain or worry about bleeding his power steering when we're done. We can literally just leave that in the car, and same thing with the compressor. Alright guys, so like Mike and I said, we unbolted these two 10 millimeter bolts here, and now we're good to go ahead and remove the power steering pump. You're going to have what looks like a 12 here, a 12 here, so you're going to have to move the pump pulley around to get it to line up. There's going to be one here, and then there's going to be another one here, and we should be able to move this whole pump over and out of the way. I went ahead and removed our fuel feed, return, and vacuum line here, and I'm going to also go ahead and remove this ground strap. You'll see it goes from the firewall over here to the intake manifold. We're going to remove that and get it out of the way. We're basically just going over this whole engine and removing anything that connects it to the car. That way when we pull it out, we have nothing snagging us or holding us back. Hey, don't be like us. don't forget to disconnect the heater hoses because we got the engine almost out and we're looking and we're like, oh, we forgot them. So I'm gonna throw this in the middle of the video. Don't forget them. That came right off?
Yeah. They're super simple. Yeah, pop right off. Right?
Round strap.
Now, whether I drop these bolts in this oil is definitely a different story.
Hey, hopefully you got a magnet.
I do.
Do you have a 12mm for this?
I'm using it right now.
Quarter inch?
Quarter inch is actually out. I think it's out. No, I'm using the quarter inch right now.
Quarter inch 12?
Yeah.
So you have a 3/8 12?
You want to use the gun?
No.
I had it on that.
It's in an awkward spot.
I got air, man.
Ever since I started working for the state, I don't use air tools because it makes you
faster.
It makes you too fast.
That's dumb. Okay. Sometimes I really like air tools.
I'm not flat rate no more.
I ain't no flat rate.
Yo, I'm gonna put this bolt right back where it goes. This is holding on some sort of a bracket for something here.
So that's not one. Now
There's four.
1, 2. So down here, I guess?
Down here, and then if you feel with your fingers, there's one right here. And then we can get that out of the way. I'm gonna start. I need a 14. Do you have a 3/8 14?
3/8?
Yeah. So while Mike is over there working on the power steering pump, like I showed you with those 4 bolts, I'm going to start taking the AC compressor off. Also, super simple, just 4 12mm bolts. 14mm. Who the fuck tighten these?
You? Actually, you.
I know, that's what I said.
You may need are you going to back up into that? Oh, red Loctite. Oh, okay. Good to know. Good to know. I only have 4, so. Oh, that's a tiny one.
That's what she said.
Oh, that's good. Not yet.
I see a 13 ratcheting. Do you have a 14?
Somewhere.
I
ran out of.
Yeah, ran out of
just
hooks.
got bigger, man.
We got a brake booster hose here. We got to remove on the intake.
Oh, okay. Nothing on that one. So just Loctite on one of those puppies. Now these are different sizes, Stephanie. So.
What, the compressor bolts?
Yeah. So when I get that out, I'm definitely putting them in there.
Get my offset wrench that I'm going over.
Not yet.
I thought the whole hook was coming down. Yeah, we're still right.
Oh, there's one in the back. Okay. Yep. There's one in the back. Wires and all.
Did I miss one?
There's one way back there.
For the.
Power steering.
Alright, let me show them that. So there's one bolt that we missed that I guess I didn't see for the power steering pump. Mike just found it. He's going to show us exactly where it's at.
Right down in there.
Oh yeah, check that out. Okay. Oh, dude, this is a part of the alternator bracket too.
Yeah.
So we have to make sure we unbolt. You got to pull this bolt out all the way too, because that looks like it goes into the alternator.
Yep, I loosened that already.
Yep. So we got to pull that all the way out too.
You can do your flat rate shit. I'm gonna use air. I got gas to save, man.
Yeah, right.
Are you using that 12?
No, I'm not using a 12. I'm using a 14 at the moment.
Is the 12 over there?
No.
Damn, dude, how much did you crank those things down to?
I didn't think I did them that tight. Sorry if you just saw my butt.
No.
Oh, I mean them.
Yes, sir.
Look at this.
You don't put any seats back in your shit?
We can clean that one off. This might have been one of those things that I flat rated when I did it.
Oh, yeah,
Full disclosure.
That's nice.
Alright guys, so like I said, we got the power steering pump off. We did it just the way we said, left it completely connected, minus the return line here. I don't even know if we had to take that off. Did we?
Probably not.
Yeah, you could probably leave that connected. But so now we're good to go ahead and take this alternator off. All we should have to do here is loosen this bolt. And yeah, this will come right off. And then we can
that part off,
finish working on the compressor. That's what I'm doing now. I got 3 of the 4 bolts out. One of them's a little tricky down here. I'm working on that. I got an offset wrench to get that out. And then we'll almost be ready to pull the engine. Alright guys, AC compressor is in the battery box area, disconnected. You'll see battery cables obviously also disconnected. Power steering pump out of the way. Alternator will come off real easy. This bolt here, we'll pull that out. And then we're just gonna, take a lap around the engine, make sure there's nothing up here that we missed, and then we have to disconnect. Yeah, we have all these wiring connectors back here that we have to pull off. Then all we have to do is unbolt Mike's brand new shiny unequal length headers that he just put on, and we should be ready to pull this thing. So we're up over here on the passenger side by the bell housing, just disconnecting the harness from the body to the engine, so that it looks like with this engine you can pull the engine with the harness on it. You just have to disconnect a couple of main connectors on the back. So that's what Mike's working on now. And Mike, what size is this crank pulley? I'll
22.
I'll spin this over real quick and get it on top of the center.
Well, we're gonna have to pull the plug.
We gotta pull the plug too. Sorry. I'll fight compression. I don't care.
No, I mean to find it.
Pull what plug?
You know where it is?
There should be a mark right on the crank pulley.
All the marks are underneath these. You can actually find it, but
See this mark right here?
yeah.
See that?
How do you know that's the right mark?
You line it up with the 0 right here. Now the only thing is we can be on top that center of compression.
Or it's at the bottom.
Right. So
I
to
want to
check
pull that out.
You wanna pull this.
That's the only way. I'm not pulling. Actually, those are inspection plates. You can technically pull them.
You got a light?
Right there.
What am I supposed to be seeing here?
There's supposed to be scores. On both sides.
I can't even see it.
Light.
I mean, we're on top dead. I just don't know which top dead we're on. You see it in there?
Yeah, I'd have to pull all that off.
Just look. This one will come right off right here. Look. 1, 2.
I'll just take a screwdriver. Easier.
Well, look, I can pull this whole cycle timing cover off right here.
Yeah.
What do you want to do?
Pull the plug.
Spark plug?
Yeah, takes 2 seconds. It's easy. And then we'll know we're on the right stroke.
Well, no, that ain't gonna make a difference because the piston, regardless, the piston's on top dead center. Whether it's either, you know, what you have to worry is if your cam timing is this. You know, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I think there still has to be true resolution, so regardless, it's going to be on, right?
When this is at top dead center, number 1 is at the top, regardless of whether it's the exhaust or the compression strip. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, okay.
You follow me? So we can verify if we pull this timing cover off on this side.
Alright, here.
Yeah. Alright guys, so what we went ahead and did is put this thing on top dead center. Like I said before, we want this thing to be timed at top dead before we pull it. So you'll see that our little notch here lines right up with the 0. We have our notch here, and we have our arrow on the crank pulley pointing directly up. And we have the same thing in our inspection plate here, pointing directly up. So this thing is in top dead center, top dead of compression stroke on number 1. And Mike just finished, or is just about finished, unplugging everything back there. And then we have a few more little things to do. We have to remove this vacuum hose here that goes to the brake booster. And then we can go ahead and start removing the exhaust. And from the exhaust, we'll hook this thing up to a cherry picker, unbolt the bell housing, pull the whole thing forward and up, and then the engine's out. Alright guys, we got our brake booster line disconnected. Mike did all of his connectors over there that connect the engine to the vehicle. So now we're going to go ahead and start removing the bell housing bolts. We do have to remove the starter. We're going to go ahead and do that. Those are probably, I want to say 17mm bolts they feel like, but we'll update you exactly with what size they are when we get there. But we're going to go ahead and just start disconnecting the bell housing, removing the starter. And while I'm doing that, Mike's probably going to start with the exhaust manifold. On the top starter bolt, the stud has threads on the end of it, and there's a 17mm nut on that. And what connects to that is this ground strap here. So I went ahead, removed that 17mm nut, and now I can get to the 14mm studs, basically the bolts that connect the bell housing to the transmission or the engine. So we're gonna go ahead and disconnect the 2 up top. Then Mike's gonna go down underneath, unbolt his headers, and do the bottom 2 bolts, and then we're ready to yank this thing. Yeah, that's the way it should be, I guess. Oh, that's weird. It's probably that way for the starter, I guess.
Could be. This could be one giant piece.
Yeah.
I don't know. This looks like it's threaded over here. So.
Engineless Subaru.
Outback.
Yeah. Flintstone power.
That's what the guy Rich Precision.
Yeah.
So everyone wants the turbos. Don't. He knows. Turbo stuff. I'm not going to go with this.
People bend that a little bit. It's bolted to the trans over here a little bit. Use the open end part. What?
I don't have another one in there.
Oh, I ain't bending it too bad. Just enough. Is it hitting?
No, it's just not.
Perfect.
That's how that's supposed to be.
Yeah, it's cast onto there.
Yep.
Okay, so we got the two top ones off. Now we can. Now the owner of the car can get underneath and do his exhausting. So Mike's gonna take the camera in a second and show you exactly what he's doing under there. He's not gonna record while he's doing it. He's just gonna show you what he's gonna do.
Alright guys, so we're gonna head underneath the car here. Here we go. Alright, so here's the unequal length headers I put on. Kind of wrap up and around. Come all the way back. All you're gonna make sure you do is that you got 3 bolts on each side. So you got 1 there, 2 right there on the outside. Other side's gonna be opposite. So you're gonna have 1 there and 2 out on this side. 1, 2. There they are. Perfect. So you take those off, and this will drop down. You'll be able to just kind of take this right out. Then to get to the other bolts that are back here, let's see if I can get up in here. I'll show you guys. So we have one of them is going to be right there, and the other one is right over here. Then to get the one bottom starter bolt, that's going to be starters right here. I'm going to take that puppy out right there. And we should be able to get this thing out of here. Alright guys, while I was under here, I forgot to mention that we do have to take the motor mounts off as well. So if you look right here, there's 1 nut, and then on the other side, there's another nut right through here. There it is. So we'll take those 2 out. They're right on this cross member that holds the motor up here. And then before we do that, we're going to make sure that we support the transmission just to make sure nothing falls. There's a cross member back there, but we just want to help support everything, make sure nothing gets tweaked or out of whack.
Alright guys, so we got the starter unbolted. You'll see it. We just kind of left it hanging back there, but it is disconnected from the bell housing. So now we just have to go under there, remove our last 2 bell housing bolts, and then take off the nuts for the motor mounts. But before we touch any of that, we are going to put a jack underneath the transmission with a piece of wood and help support it, because the only thing holding the transmission up this far forward is this little dog bone mount here, and we don't want to rip or break that mount, and we also don't want the transmission falling or hurting anybody. So we are, like I said, going to use that jack to support it. While it's supported, pull the motor mount bolts and pull the bell housing bolts, and then we're going to hook up our cherry picker and start, you know, cranking the motor up. And if we missed anything, that is when we will find out. Hey guys, so we're about ready to set up this cherry picker here. Mike's underneath getting the last bell housing bolt, but he wants me to lift the engine up a little bit because it's kind of wedged in a bad spot. And if I lift the engine up with the transmission, it's going to give him a little bit more room. So we're just going to set this cherry picker up so that it's ready to roll. And we'll see what kind of room we can get for him here.
I don't want to go out.
Why is the whole car coming up? You got both the motor mounts out, right?
Yeah.
You sure there's no more?
No. Hold on. Look. That. That
Story of a girl.
steering. Yeah, I just got 2 right there. Unless there's something right under this right here. Nope, not right. It's coming.
It's loose now.
Yeah, hold on.
So he's probably just pulling the weight.
Yeah, hold on. Some I don't feel comfortable with.
that help you at all?
Did it go up at all?
If it looks like it did.
Look. Just a squirrel looking for a nut.
Does it look like the motor mount came off the studs at all?
No. Not even.
Alright guys, so we had some hidden bell housing bolts that we had to get out. Once we get the engine out, we're going to show you on the bell housing itself where all of those bolts are. But here you'll see we have our cherry picker set up, and we do have the transmission just slightly separated from the bell housing. So we're going to go ahead and start pulling this motor out. You're lifting the car up now, bud.
Good. There's pressure on it. So there's enough pressure on that, right?
Yeah.
So let's just rock her back and forth. She should come. One's going.
Do you have like a
An actual pry bar?
yeah,
I see it.
that would be a huge help right now.
This is the only pry bar I actually have. You see it. But I see it lowered a little bit because we're way too high.
So hold on.
Oh yeah, it's coming.
Jack that back up.
It's almost, is it out over there?
It certainly looks like it's damn close here. You gotta
I'm
go up.
almost out on this side.
I gotta go up a little bit more on this.
Okay, just a little bit. Oh, because we have this stud up here.
Yeah, we gotta clear the stud. That's why you gotta come up over the motor mount. You follow me?
Yep. It's almost out.
Let me see that, because now you're way out and I'm not.
Just watch inside there. I don't know what takes in there.
Yeah, I'm just... It's out, it's out. Alright, Mikey, it's out.
What hoses are over there? Because I see a couple things connected.
What's connected? This?
Yeah.
This?
There.
It's this here.
No, next to it.
Heater hose. The heater hoses for the air conditioning. Okay, we forgot the heater hoses. We're gonna disconnect them right now.
I don't think that's on there.
What?
Is it on? The light's on.
No, it's on. It's recording.
Oh, okay.
It's just light enough in here now.
Ah,
You'll always forget
that's
something.
way too big.
Yeah, you'll always forget something silly. Good job.
I drank it way too fast and it bubbled up through my nose.
Oops.
Ooh. Easy with that. That's gonna leak, right?
A little bit. It ain't gonna be crazy amount.
Yeah, this is just hot. It's almost off. Is that loose enough?
It moves.
No, usually there's a lip. There.
Get slashed in the face either because I've done that before when it goes
Oh, shit. I'll get splashed in the face. It feels good. Just a warm breeze on your face, you know?
You can do the second one. We'll take turns.
Did you listen or not?
No, not yet. So I'm gonna add a clip in the middle of the video somewhere to make sure that you don't forget the heater hoses, because we did.
How long does it take you to edit these things? Not too long? A couple hours?
Depends, yeah. This one will probably take a little longer. It's a little more involved.
Yeah, you're pulling the whole fucking motor out.
Yeah.
Damn. Really wasn't too bad though.
No, it wasn't at all.
It sucked getting it back in, dude.
Oh. You get it off? Alright.
Oh, there's a lot now.
Let's go up.
Wow. Is there a bucket somewhere? Because there's a lot coming out of that one. Underneath.
Are we off of the studs yet?
Oh yeah, you're right off the stuff, man. Boy, now you're hanging.
Alright.
Oh, no. Okay, go ahead.
We're gonna clear that hood.
Should.
You might have to move your droplet bar.
Sorry. Want to get a picture of that? I guess it's technically on the camera, right?
Yeah, but we'll get it as a regular picture. We'll get a picture. I can do this, watch. Just alright, cool.
Nice.
And here she is. That should clear it now. You want to grab a little more? You want to grab a tire or something to set this thing on, or what's your plan?
Now, I'm going to bolt this right up on the stand.
Right to the engine stand?
Yep, got it.
Alright guys, so real quick, I did just want to show you the bell housing bolt locations. You have 3 studs, 1, 2, and 3. You have a dowel here, and I think there's supposed to be another dowel there, but it might be stuck in the transmission, which it is, so we might have to transfer that over. But just be mindful, this is your starter bolts here, so you have one here, and then just remove all these bell housing bolts, studs, whatever they are, nuts, and the engine should come right off. Alright guys, so that's going to conclude this portion of the Subaru installment. Up next, we're probably going to pull the heads. We're going to see exactly what caused this head gasket to fail. We're going to pull the heads, like I said, send them off to Mike's dad to have them machined. And hopefully by, a week or so, we'll have this thing back together. So please, like, share, subscribe, stay tuned for part 2, and we'll see you on the next one.